Most people, and I mean most, have no clue that the key to getting ahead in your career is actually very mundane and people overlook it. And let's go into that one today. I'm John, glad you're back. So we'll jump right into this one. Uh, Now everyone's going to laugh and scoff, but your annual goals at a company, most companies do like a very mundane process. HR says, oh, write up some goals and tell us how you did at the end of the year. That's actually hugely important. Why? Because outside of your boss, who might not even know the value you're bringing in because they've got maybe 7, 10, 20 people to oversee, so they can't actually spend the time watching and tracking your success. Outside of your boss, probably nobody knows the true value and importance of what you did. So if you can write up a good goal and say, hey, my goal was to achieve this thing, and this thing is this much value to the company, and your goal sticks out among your team to the upper management and the HR people that review it at the end of the year, you're going to get ahead. You're going to stand out. And I know that because at one point I had an HR person talk to me and say, hey, John, you need to work on your goals more. And I was like, why? I do good work. I get good reviews from my bosses. I get all these things done. And they're like, yeah, but your VP of your department looks at the goals at the end of the year to figure out who underneath him, 2 or 3 levels down, might need to get promoted or reviewed more to understand, where the good employees are. And your goals suck. I was told that. I was friends with this HR person. And I thought, okay, then. So I started doing goals more. And I realized very rapidly, literally the first year, suddenly I was having way more attention on the achievements that I had. And other people started kind of knowing my name and people would talk to me about things. People came to me with projects and ideas and requests. And it was like a light switch flipped. I'd spent probably 4 or 5 years kind of just mailing in my goals, making jokes. I would literally write jokes on my goals. Like, here's one. They'd say, promote safety in the organization. And I wrote, per workers' compensation. I'm an 8810 employee, which means I cost you 24 cents per $100 of payroll, and I make this much money. So I cost you like whatever it was, 18 or 20 bucks a year in work comp. I'll give you a $20 bill if I don't have to do this goal. And I thought that was witty, but I was just being a dick. And that sort of thing didn't get me ahead. And like I said, as soon as I started trying and I actually wrote down the value I was bringing in my goals, boom, I started getting the attention. I started getting forward more in my career. People noticed. So when you do your goals, don't just do the whole mail it in thing like, oh, my goal is that I'm part of this team and, I need to make X number of phone calls a day or I need to do whatever it is. No, no, no. Like actually try, say, what are the people around me writing? And then think to yourself, what could I write that would one up them right away in terms of the ambition that I'm showing on my annual goals? Because, other people are going to read that above you. And in the future, if someone says, hey, we need to go promote someone in this team, the first thing that's going to happen outside of asking the manager or people to work with that team, hey, who's the good person here? Some person in HR is going to go through and look at the goals and say, is this person achieving every year? And they'll give that feedback to the hiring person or the person looking to promote. So you want to be there. Anyway, so find that goal where you can write something that is just a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more direct, a little bit more like precise in value than probably the person next to you. And then spend a little bit of time, like put aside a half a day at the end of the year. Maybe go through your emails and track projects or track deals you closed or track something. Find a number, measure it, and then report on your goals very clearly. I did another video recently on understanding value and measuring impact. So I'll link that below. Go ahead and take a look at that one. But get the numbers, put them on your goals, fill them out honestly, and be professional. I hate that. I'm a pretty informal person, but being professional in this case matters because they don't know your personality. They don't understand if you're an informal kind of fun person to work with or whatever. They just see that you wrote, like a slacker, like a slob. So try to be formal on your review, even if you think it's terrible, in person. And this will help you if you get it right. Um, I would never thought I would say this, 4 or 5 years ago, but it is what it is. So we'll wrap that one there. Thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment if you have any questions, thoughts, if you want help with, quantifying something, or if you disagree, leave a comment there. I'm happy to argue with someone maybe if you're in good faith, and have a great day.